This episode is brought to you by Pixel 2 Editions, a full-service fine art printing company. More about them later. Hello and welcome to In the Art Scene podcast, an art podcast that has it all. I'm your host, Galina Marquez, and I invite fascinating people to talk about their personal creative journeys, success stories, and inspiration. We talk about art business and marketing, how to find your creative voice, and all the new trends in the art world like NFT, AI, and such. Join me and my guest for today's conversation. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast. We are having another, as you guessed, amazing guest today. And this artist is... I'm having problems to find words to describe what she does because she does so many interesting things. And I think her main idea is that she's using alternative canvas. At least that's the wording that I found on her website. So what that means and what kind of alternative canvases she uses, I think she's going to tell us more about herself. So please welcome Ruby Silvious. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
You did.
All right. Well, welcome, Ruby. I'm so excited because I'm mind blown by your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Yes.
So tell me a little bit how, you're a painter, you're a designer, you're creating objects because some of the things are really objects. I see they're like paper cups or guys, they're not paper cups as you know them. Those are English tea cups that are made from colored paper hanging from the wall. and I see a paper bra also.
Yes. That too.
That was my the favorite collection on your website. I'm telling you, I need one for sure. I'm gonna ask you about that for sure. So, can you please tell us a little bit? I don't know about your background, how you started, and how did you come to the point where you started using different materials as your canvas? Because
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I guess one thing to remember is I was not always an artist. I mean, people are always surprised when they find out that I've only been doing this maybe 7 or 8 years.
Really?
Yes, because most of my career has been mostly sort of administrative. So my educational background is architecture and fine arts. I did not go to art school per se. But I also so that was back in the Philippines. But when I came to the States after I had my 2 kids, I went back to school and I took business administration and marketing. So always been and graphic design. Mm-hmm. So the last job that I held was as a graphic designer. So I was a design manager for this, advertising marketing firm. And at the end of 2015, they closed shop. And basically, I decided to just become a freelance and work from home. And then I started doing art because I had so much time on my hands. So so back that was about 2015, I decided to do this series. And this was really just to challenge. I was always creative most of my life, but I never in a million years thought that I would be doing art every day, just the way I'm doing it now. So in 2015, I decided I'm going to challenge my creative practice and maybe start doing art every single day. So, it will force me to do something. And that was also when I was new to social media. So I just thought that was perfect sort of combination. But I mean, it's not like I had followers, or anything like that. So anyway, I decided on the 3rd day of 2015, I decided to do this series. And instead of calling it 365, because I'm now missing 2 days, it's called 363 Days of Tea. So my thinking was, because I had been sort of experimenting on the tea bags, that this canvas is sort of manageable. I had been doing watercolors and I really, really loved it. I can create something every day, with this manageable canvas, because remember in 2015, that was my last sort of full-time job thing. I was still working. So I would do it after dinner, and I always had time to post. And in fact, I traveled that year twice, and I went to Italy and I went to France, and I was still able to post
You
every single
did?
day. I
You
mean,
did?
because it really does take discipline. Yes.
Well, I guess, I guess they do drink tea in Italy as
Yes.
well, so you can get the tea bags.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, that
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 makes
that is
sense.
the magic. Yeah, that is the magic of a non-traditional canvas like a tea bag, because you can, first of all, you can travel with it. It's very portable. It's very
Yeah,
manageable in
yeah,
terms of painting on it, but it's also available everywhere. And if you mess up, there's always another one. So yeah, it's
exactly.
just wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, sorry. Yeah, about the background.
And then you made a book out of it.
Yes. So because I didn't have a job anymore in 2016, I decided, and I am a graphic designer after all, I decided, well, what if I just compile everything that I did for the series and create a book out of it? Mind you, I did not know the first thing about making a book, but I knew how to make PDFs.
Uh-huh.
So when I contacted this publishing company, they said, "Yeah, all we need are PDFs." So I said, "Well, I can do that." And then I just started designing pages, and
Uh-huh.
it's a coffee table book, so it's really just pictures. It's like a picture book, with a little bit of text. But yeah, so yeah, I did.
That's amazing. And I saw it. It's available on your website. So did you publish
I
yourself, or did you?
did. No, I contacted a publishing company, and they are based out of Virginia. It's called
Uh-huh.
Mascot Books. They've been acquired, or they've renamed themselves now, and actually it's escaping me right now because it's a very recent change. But so Mascot Books, and actually I needed to submit my idea, and they loved it.
Uh-huh.
And they said, send us some sample pages. I already had it because I had been playing with it already, so it was almost instant. Because I had wanted, so I worked on it almost immediately in 2016. I wanted for it to come out in the fall of that same year because I had an exhibit down in New York City, and I said, wouldn't it be nice if I launched it around the same time?
Wait, wait,
So
wait,
it
wait, wait,
was
wait, wait. I gotta,
perfect.
I gotta, I gotta stop you for a second. So
Yeah, sure.
2015, you are finishing your last job,
Yes.
and you're just decided to go solo,
Yep.
and playing with a little, like, with tea bags and doing things like a social media challenge that you're new to social media, you
Yeah.
don't have followers,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden from there in 2016 you're having an exhibition and a book coming out, and like,
Yes.
oh my god, how?
Yes. So, and this is how, okay, this is how, because like I said, I was new to social media. I did not even know how to create an Instagram account. My kids had to help me. I have two boys. And so, so I'm halfway through the process, but also just to, a little bit of background. 2 months, 2.5 months into it, I thought, like, am I crazy? I'm never ever gonna finish this. Like, that's a lot. And I was having a creative block, and I could not think of new ideas. But I just kept on plugging in, and some of my designs, if you can, if it were very simple. When I did not have like great inspiration, they were just very simple. But anyway, so I just kept on doing it, and 2/3 into the project. So I remember in October, okay, so by summer, I probably had maybe 30 followers, and that's a
Uh-huh.
lot. And most of it was family, so probably had to pay them. But anyway, but 2/3 into the process. So at the end of October, I wake up and I'm looking at my Instagram and I'm thinking, holy cow, like that's a lot of followers. And the followers kept coming. And then when I checked my email, I saw that there were some media inquiries and some press inquiries. So I had no
Wow.
idea what had happened. I didn't know what it was like for work to go viral. And that was sort of the beginning of this whole
So which one
thing,
went viral?
Yes, it went viral, and it was artists, inspire artists, something like that, and just picked up my work, and then it was picked up by these other online. You've heard of Colossal, for
Yeah,
instance,
yeah,
like
yes,
My
yes,
Modern Mat. Yeah,
yes,
so My
yes.
Modern Mat picked it up. Design Taxi picked it up, and so it was one thing after another. So one like bored panda would pick it up, and then like somebody else, and it was just like exploding.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was good, and it was scary because I did not know what was going on.
So
And
you
I mean,
literally woke up famous one day.
something like that. Yeah, I always call this an experiment that pretty much changed my life, because it did. I did not plan for this to happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing story. Another thing, you mentioned that you have degree in
Yeah.
architecture, right? So
Oh, nice.
you
Yeah.
are, I think, a third or a fourth artist that I'm interviewing who has the similar degree, and all of them are working with paper. So to me, like, it sounds like
Yes.
a trade. So I guess it's something I've never went to architecture school, so I don't know what it is, but I first thought that you were actually a fashion designer because I saw this collection of paper shoes that are amazing. And oh my God, the brarigami, how you call it?
Oribrami.
Oribrami, yes,
Oribrami. Yes.
that's just mind blowing. I love it.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, a little background on that is I am part Japanese, so that's where the origami comes from, and I'm part Chinese, but I was born in the Philippines. So I, so I have that in my background, and I think you can tell from my design sensibility too that it's sort of minimal, and it's very kind of Japanese. But I also took other workshops just to better myself in art, like pastels and watercolor and printmaking. So while I'm not like an expert in all of them, I kind of know how to work with these medium. So and that's a plus when you're just trying out all these other canvases. So let me try this, let me try, like I've been trying markers, on like adding machine roll and all this stuff. So it's
Yeah,
just wonderful.
it
Yeah.
is interesting, yeah, because you with your tea bags, I've been scrolling through your Instagram account, and the only thought I had is like, how far can she go with the tea bags? Because you are stitching on them,
Yeah.
you're doing cyanotypes on them,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
the latest thing I've seen, you're now making clothing.
Yes. Yes, that's actually, so that's not new. It's the new part is that they're baby you're
Uh-huh.
sort of, I call them baby teabag dress. And this is my sort of foray into creating a clothing line that I can exhibit in Germany, because it's smaller to pack, so I have an exhibit coming up in the spring. But back in, I think it was 2015, I created a kimono because,
Uh-huh.
over time, when friends know that you are creating something out of tea bags, tea drinkers started, donating to me. And my mom, drinks, my mom's friends and my friends' friends, so now I have like bins and bins of used tea bags that I need to do something with. And it's actually a good sort of transition from small scale to like a larger scale, because a kimono is like, actually they are life size.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, so it was, yeah, yeah, I like it.
Life size kimono out of tea bags.
Yes, yes. My
Wow.
my son actually modeled one of them in 2015, because there was a recycled runway call for
Uh-huh.
art. So I decided to enter that, and yeah, and he got a kick out of it. Everybody did.
All right. Well, I have to ask you about the bras.
Yes.
I noticed that they a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are made from
Mhm.
the fast food wrappers.
Yes. Yes.
Is that intentional?
It, it is intentional. So how it happened was 2012. There was a call for art that was supposed to benefit breast cancer awareness. I believe it was, and it was the proceeds were going to survivors and the people who have had mastectomy and all that. And the challenge was you had to make it out of something very extraordinary. Didn't have to be paper, but it also had to have a catchy name. And I thought, well, I have so many handmade papers from Japan, and I'm going to make, and it was the coolest, most beautiful bra. And I actually packed it before I shipped it, like a Victoria's Secret kind of thing,
Oh,
And
cool.
I remember it was like lavender paper, and I called it origami because it was folded.
Uh-huh.
So how that came about is I know a fold for a bowl. So pretty much, actually, I have it here. I just happen to have it here. So the bowl is like this.
Uh-huh.
So I knew this from like bowls that I have done, but if you flip it, it looks like a cup. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, I can make a bra out of that.
So,
So
just
that
for a
is,
second. So
yeah,
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Just for a
sure.
second, because people cannot see us.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. So it is a bowl. Yeah.
Ruby is showing me an origami bowl folded from paper, and that was an inspiration for bra cup.
With the
Yeah,
cups.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
awesome.
So I thought, well, if I can make this into cups, then I can just, because it is life size, and that was one of the conditions. I just took like one of my bras and I just sort of made a pattern out of the rest of it. So like the straps and like this whole thing that goes in the back and the hooks. So I did that, and that was sort of the beginning. But I did not think of doing a series. So it will be years later when I was asked to do a recycle exhibit locally that I thought, well, what if I did several of them? But I was still not doing, this was prior to my tea bags, I was not doing non-traditional canvas. So
Hmm.
I was just doing sort of from handmade paper, some wrapping paper and all that. Once I started doing this upcycled art and, reusing discarded materials, I thought, well, I can also make this into a bra. And so it became sort of a quest. So every time I would go out, I would actually start to collect them, like, oh, Dunkin' Donuts, and I love that you could call them like double D's because it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dunkin'
yeah.
Donuts and, bed, like,
McDD, yeah.
yes, like Bath and Body Works was double B's. I mean, it was kind of fun that way. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's kind of how it started, and why not? Like I just love creating something out of nothing, basically.
No, it's amazing. I feel like I need a paper bra in my life.
One year, I believe it was 2017, they celebrate breast cancer awareness in October. So I decided to post on Facebook a bra every single day. So it was good because it challenged me again. While it was not like an entire year, it was a whole month. And I was traveling to South Carolina around that time. It was great because my friend was so supportive of me. So she would say, let's go shop here and you can use the bags to make,
Uh-huh.
that. So we did a lot of that. Yeah, it was fun.
It's really fun. It's really fun. Well, so tell me how you started using non-traditional canvas. I mean, I know you told
Yep.
us about the tea bags already, how you started
Right.
experimenting and how it all went
Mm-hmm.
into a year-long challenge,
Right.
363 days. But I
Mm-hmm.
also see that you're doing a lot of different things with a lot of
Yes.
different things. Like one
Yes.
of the things that really caught my eyes because they look so delicate and so precious and so like just like you said, minimal, like Japanese, but at the same
Right.
time they're whimsical, they're kind of crazy and silly because who else would paint inside the eggshell?
Yes.
So
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
just they look precious to me. The cracked eggshells
Yes.
painted from inside and some of them from the outside as well.
Yes.
uh can you talk a little
Yes.
bit about that?
Sure, sure. So after the series in 2015, and now I'm into 2016, I really needed to engage my following because I could not possibly do one every single day again. So I decided to do once a week. So the new project for 2016 became 52 weeks of tea. And that was my way to sort of, like I said, just engage my following. But at the same time, I also wanted to maintain this momentum of, trying to use these discarded materials. And I had already, I mean, even back, before the tea bags, when I was still working with the architectural firms, because I love eating pistachios for snacks, I would save some of those shells and then just take a fine point micron pen and started doing, like, I would start doing just geometric figures. I mean, they kind of look very tribal because it was just black and white. And then I would just, they were very simple, but yet they had some appeal for some reason, because everybody who came by my desk would say, those are so cool, And so it kind of started from there. And then, one day I saw some markers and I thought, wow, what if we added color to this? And that's all it takes. And next thing you know, every time I watch TV, I do one, and next thing you know, there's like 500 of them. And I was, exhibiting some of them again. So, I mean, that's kind of how it starts. And then again, with the eggshell, I mean, I can't say that I was the first one, but I just saw, it may have been on Pinterest. It was actually not in color. So I just saw that somebody had done abstract strokes, inside an eggshell. And I mean, that's all the idea that I need sometimes to be inspired to do something else, And sometimes the ideas sort of develop while you're creating something. You start this and then you say, oh, what if I do this? And actually I combined it with, well, I was trying to dry a tea bag on the windowsill, and I said, what if I drop one of the tea bags? And that's how I stained some of them. So again, it's just pure experimentation that sometimes does come out, wonderful, and fantastic. So
what else are you painting on?
So I have done clamshells. I could show them to you because they're all here. So I have painted clamshells. I have acorns. Actually, they're like right there. So they're acorns, and I have painted on wine corks. They're also right behind me.
Oh yeah.
So I wish the audience could see, but so I have done that. And then most recently, as recent as 2020, a friend of mine was retiring and throwing out some adding machine rolls. And she said, do you want me to keep this? And I said, sure. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. But I had brand new set of markers. And I thought, what if I started doing this, like Prismacolor markers that most architects actually use for renderings? But I started doing it and I thought, well, this is good. So, after breakfast, I would create something. And then before you knew it, from August until December, I was able to do like a little roll. I finished one and I really liked it. I like sort of the journalistic, sort of diaristic look to it. And so you can just record what you did every day on the kitchen table, what you saw. And then after that, I started doing so that was 2019, because in 2020, I decided to do one every day, and I actually finished the entire roll. So, I mean, it's actually, it's actually right here in front of me. So it's an adding machine roll. I was doing the fly. I think this was during the debate with Pence. Anyway,
yeah,
right? The fly. So I was inspired by that, and I did like a few flies. But anyway, so I did an entire roll, and then I exhibited in Germany last year. And I decided to paint, some of the service people who were actually the only folks who were wearing masks when I was there, because, everybody could like not wear masks anymore when they were outdoors. So I decided to do a roll of those as well. And then I did like frontliners. I mean, it has been fun. I mean, it has been keeping me busy. That's
awesome. That's awesome. It's just, it feels like whatever gets in your hands becomes
much
an artwork. Yeah.
No, nothing is safe with me.
That's a great way to put it. I saw on your website also old spools.
Yes, spools. So I have, it's actually over there. So somebody had given me those. So again, sometimes it's something that I had no knowledge even existed. And then all of a sudden they'll ask me, could you use this? And then I will think of something on, how to utilize it with what I already have. And I thought, well, what if I just glued together tea bags, painted on them, and then started to kind of hang it like a scroll, on a spool. And so that's it was also good that way, because it's just a little bit larger scale work, even though so it's not quite the same traditional one.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm really like, I'm thinking about our audience who cannot see, because like even your background is just full of all the colorful things hanging off the walls and the ceiling, and but I will make sure to put some photographs in the show notes, and absolutely 100% all the links to your social media, to the website, because that's just an eye candy to me. It's an eye candy because, believe it or not, I'm also hoarding all, like I have a stack of tea bags. And I have like a plastic container of pistachio shells.
Perfect.
It was so funny when you were talking about it. I actually haven't thought about painting on them, but I was using them last year a lot. I was creating like handmade Christmas tree decorations. I was gluing them on top of the just the can leads. The tin cans. So it was just cutting the leads off, and it was kind of fun. I liked it. And it's like, oh, now I have an idea. Well, if Ruby was painting on them, maybe I can try to, doodle something as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun. It's so fun. Hey, In the Arts and listeners. Do you remember Mark O'Donnell from Pixel 2 Editions? He's been on the show in Season 3, Episode 7, and told us everything we need to know about giclée printing. And take my word for it, Mark and his team are the best in Southern California and beyond. I've been a client of Pixel 2 Editions since 2019, and I've been shouting about them from the rooftops ever since. Luckily, I don't have to do it anymore because I have a podcast. Despite being San Diego local, Mark and his team are working with some of the best photographers and artists from all states, including Clark Little and Kadir Nelson. And frankly, if you are a photographer or a digital artist, you don't need to be local to work with Pixel 2 Editions. Just use a file upload on their website for your heavy images and write down the specs. They can print small proofs for you on any substrate you want and ship them to you for free. And for my listeners, they offer a free 8x10 full image proof on metal. Just tell them that you heard about them on the podcast and they will take care of you. Let me tell you, their metal prints are amazing. Whenever I order mine, they fly off the shelves in no time. So I highly recommend you try it out. And oh, did I mention that they are a full service company? It means that they do everything from color correcting and printing to framing and shipping directly to you or your clients. So don't wait, go to pixel2editions.com, 2 is a number, and editions is plural, or call 858-549-7299. Again, pixel2editions.com, 2 is a number, and editions is plural, or call 858-549-7299. Say hi for me. Is there something that you want to try to use as your art medium, or like wish you had like put your hands on something that?
Well, that again, that's another quest for me. So every day when I'm out walking, for instance, I'm hoping to discover something that I would love to paint on. I mean, there are several. My friends would, sometimes text me and say, I'm doing this, I'm throwing this away. You kind of have to be picky, because if it's just like a deodorant box, not really, sometimes that's what I get, as suggestions. But I've painted on leaves, for instance, and I've done several things with leaves. I love leaves. And we happen to have like 2 large ginkgo trees that flank our post office. I usually go at the end of the summer and I take a bunch of those and I create butterflies out of them. I paint acrylic on them and create butterflies out of them. And I've actually done workshops, with those because people love them. But I mean, that has yet to be discovered, whatever it is. And I'm constantly looking, I mean, I have started, I've only done 3 of them. I've started with the coffee filters because at first I thought, I don't know, it's so trite. I've seen people do stuff with it. I've actually seen kimonos out of, coffee filters, but I've started painting on them, and I thought I kind of like it. It's a different kind of material. It's not like the tea bags, but it's also very choosy in terms of the subjects you can paint on it to make it look so, sort of organic. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have a great source of inspiration for you. I have an artist, and I've been following her for years now. Her name is Chelsea Baker from Australia, and I interviewed her in episode 1 of the 5th season. I'll send you the link. You
oh,
will
that would
like
be
her.
great. Yes,
So
yes.
the whole thing that she's doing, she is collecting seed pods from native trees, and she is designing on them. And
Wow.
that's all she does. She's got all kinds of different seed pods, and so I'm still trying to send her some of the gigantic pine cones from California because they don't have them in Australia.
Oh,
So, but
yeah,
she's got, and those things just look funky and so exotic
yeah,
because, like in the United States, a lot of the trees that she is using we don't have. So it's
yes.
just, yeah, and she's so creative about that. So yeah,
Yes.
I'll send you the link. You
Thank
will like it for
you.
sure, for
Yes,
sure.
I love, I mean, sometimes just looking at new ideas can also inspire me, maybe not by using the same materials, but, will inspire me to do
Yeah.
something else. But even with the tea bags themselves, I have discovered over time that they are not all the same. Not all tea bags are the same,
I was going to ask you, yeah, because some of them are paper and some of them
Yes,
are not. They're like
yes.
synthetic material.
So some are muslin. So
Uh-huh.
most of the French tea bags are muslins. It looks almost like a cheesecloth, only a little bit closer together. But so there's that, and then there's sort of like a cotton rag type, and it's amazing how, again, just from looking at my social media, some of these tea companies will send me samples. So
Oh.
I got some from this Argentina. It's a brand new tea company, and it looks like they do them at home, like they're handmade.
Uh-huh.
The tea bags themselves, and it's made of like this fabric sort of thing. It's not hemp, like it's not your regular, so but even the ones that are the hemp, which is the traditional, like your twinings or whatever, like that material, even that, they all differ in terms of porosity. Like some are more porous than others, and I mean, I would not have known. I was not even a tea drinker to start with, so I would not have known any of this, until I started drinking tea and people giving me samples. And it's like, wow, this is great. And some are better to paint on than others, for instance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I noticed that you have some prints, and I like how you are doing this. You're not just some of them are individual tea bags paintings,
Mhm.
creations in themselves, but some of them are composition. Like you are taking 3, 4 of them, and
Yes.
you're creating a panorama or
Yes.
like a portrait where parts of the face are on the different bags. And some of them are not the same type bags. Some of them are like
Yes.
different, just put close
Yes.
together. That's very
Yes.
creative. That's very interesting.
Yes, yeah, because I mean, every day I have to think of something new to do with them so people are not bored.
Yeah. And I love that you chose a metal substrate to make your prints.
Yes, I
So
mean
it's very
yes, I
neat.
mean, not yeah, they're not everybody, likes it, but I do get a few collectors, out there who don't want to purchase the original, or who find that this is an affordable option, who are collecting them because they're the material is basically indestructible. I mean, it can be hung outdoors and indoors, and they are built well because they're manufactured in Germany.
The metals.
So the metal
Uh-huh.
prints. Yes, yes. I have ordered them from the States, and I'm not impressed with the quality, but the one from Germany are very, very, the quality is so high. And I also, Germans, the way they package things also it's just so well done. And they turn it around in basically a week and a half.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. I love those little compositions, and they're like just 6 by 6 inches
Yep.
little
Yep.
photographs of paintings on tea bags. They are very minimal, very But yeah, I mean, they're so vibrant and so inspiring. So the question is, you're selling prints on metal,
Mhm.
obviously, but are you also selling originals
Oh
on
yes,
eBay?
yes. I have sold so many. I mean, I've also created so many, and God knows how many I have left in inventory. There's plenty of them. In fact, when people say what's available, that's really hard to answer because I could not possibly list what I have. And for me to put them all on the website and keep up with putting sold or taking
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
I mean it's just ridiculous. I always just tell people, if you see something that you like, just email me, give me like a few options, and email me and ask me, and I'll give you pricing and availability because I can check. I do have them in a binder of sorts, but yes, I have sold so many. And depending on where I was with my work being viral, because it really does, it fluctuates quite a bit. 2015, of course, it was up and then it was down. And, sometimes I will be on like a magazine, a newspaper, or whatever, all in the same, during the summer. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to buy my work if I'm exhibiting.
Uh-huh.
I started, so I also do collages, as you know. So I do collages on tea bags. And I remember the one year where I was doing collages and it was just, they were so whimsical. I was cutting up, for instance, like Van Gogh's painting where it was crying over, I called it crying over spilt milk because he was looking down with his face like this. And I cut it. So it was similar to that. And then I did Lautrec, most of the master's work, all on these tea bags. And it was exhibited at Art on Paper in New York City. And all of them sold, like all 12 of them sold.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, had I just done it by myself, probably would not have sold. But I was being represented by this gallery who thought that it would, and I guess they know better than I do, because it did sell that summer just because it was published by Colossal. It was, so it had gotten a lot of publicity. So
Yeah,
it all depends. It's timing.
Colossal is the great place to be
It
published.
is.
That's for sure.
It
That's like
really
that's a launch pad.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah. I so agree with you. And they have asked me to do a workshop already just this year. So
that's
which was
amazing. So
nice. Yeah.
have you done that or are you planning on?
No, no. So they asked me, this is for next year. So they asked me if I could do it, at the beginning of the year, which I probably cannot because I'm preparing for a spring exhibit in Germany. So I told them that I may do it in May. But we
Okay.
have not discussed logistics because I do not know how to do sort of my own video in a professional way. So I do not know kind of how we will do it. But I do have some good news, for the listeners, because this will be my first online platform experience with Domestika. So I just finished filming with them.
Nice.
Yes. So that course will probably come out, I want to say, in maybe 2 or 3 months. I'm hoping by December.
Well,
But
this episode will be on air in January. So by then,
okay. Yes.
yes,
It
by
will
then
probably
it
be
will
out
be
already.
out. Yes, and if
Yes.
so, we will put the link in the show notes for everybody. And if by
Yes.
then you have already decided something with Colossal with the workshop,
Yes.
we will put the link for that as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. So it will definitely be out by then, I'm sure. Yes. And it will be teabag painting
amazing.
for beginners. Yep. For beginners and everybody else.
I'm in. I'm in.
They're also very affordable, so it's good.
Yeah, you mentioned collages on tea bags, but I also saw you have some really whimsical collages on old mailers, like
Yes, yes.
and I just love that idea. You are combining the post
The
the
stamps.
stamps with heads and then collaging the bodies.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's really like uh, it's funny.
yes.
It's
It
awesome.
is. Yeah. Again, just totally by accident. I was teaching a collage class this summer, and one of my students said, I have something for you. During the last class, I'm going to bring it over. And she gave me this box of stamps. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll try to make use, out of them. And so as I'm looking through all the materials that I had given them for the collage workshops, I thought, what if I combine this? I mean, it starts with one thing, and sometimes I'm not even like a big fan of the first one that I do. And then next thing you know, you say, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? And you know, and then you start loving it. And then you're on a roll and you have 5 of them already, you know. And actually 2 of those sold like within seconds of posting them. And I also got discovered by a gallery in Asheville who they want to exhibit some of them now, the ones that are left. And I thought, sure, why not? I haven't been to Asheville, so yeah. So we're going to be doing that in April. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's yeah.
Yeah, you
I've
really
been
have
lucky.
something magical about you. Like you're touching a piece of that other people would say garbage, right? Like
Yes.
old tea bags, cracked eggshells,
Food
the
wrappers. Yeah.
fruit wrappers, and you're turning them in works of art, and they're picked up by major galleries,
Yeah.
and they're selling out.
Yeah,
That's
I have been. I feel very fortunate. Yeah. And I'm truly grateful, because I don't know what I would have done now that I'm like officially retired. I don't know what I would have been doing anyway. I mean, I would have been doing art, but this is so much fun to be invited to exhibit. Like Germany, for instance, in the spring is from, it opens early March and it ends end of April. It's at a tea museum.
uh-huh.
So they discovered my work when I was exhibiting last summer in a really small town down in North Germany. And they thought, well, how about, like, how appropriate is that, though? It's a tea museum. So, of course,
Yeah,
they're going to love tea. Yeah, tea art. So, yeah, so that's where
amazing.
I'm exhibiting.
Amazing. It's just amazing. So right now you're making baby dresses. So I assume for that exhibition in Germany,
Yes.
in the tea museum.
Yes.
Is there anything else you are planning on doing, or you have like any new series in mind? Well, what's in the books for you?
This coming year, I have it's just strange how my calendar is actually kind of booked, because I'm doing workshops again. So I have been invited again to do these workshops in the libraries, most of them local libraries, and a few sort of unique venues in the area. So I'm doing that. So I'm doing that in the summer, but I I am really committed to doing larger scale work. So it could be wearables
Uh-huh.
and just doing some other things other than, for example, the baby tea clothes right now. This is what happens to me, is when I like something, I feel like, oh, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. And maybe just do, at least 3 or 4 of them. And then I move on. So I am thinking of doing that. I want to continue with the spool work
Uh-huh.
and do other types of media on the tea bags on those as well, other than cyanotypes. And I've been doing printmaking with the monoprints. So it's fun exploring and discovering. And I think that's where I get so much, energy from. As I'm staring at my something on the wall there, I also sketch on napkins. So when I
Uh-huh.
travel, like if I'm having coffee, like I will sketch the people, and then sketch them on napkins. I love that as well as a medium, that the napkins. And it's just a ballpoint pen, but sometimes it's just something like that can grow. And next thing you know, I'm digging up all old napkins that I've been collecting from my travels, and then just doing something with them. I also happen to love carbs like bread. So I it's actually one way to sort of do enjoy it without the calories, sort of, and just
Wait,
like
wait, wait,
get
wait.
my
You're
fill of
you're
all.
painting on bread?
No, no, no. I'm painting bread and pastries on
On the TV.
whatever.
Oh yes, I
Yes.
saw that. Yeah, the very recent ones on your Instagram. Yeah, I saw this little panorama with donuts. It's like, oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
have those. I did not even post it on Instagram, but I started doing them on paper plates. So they actually look real because they're on paper plates like cakes and, muffins.
Oh, it's so cool. Oh my God.
But anyway, yes. And maybe more markers type of medium because I love the Posca markers.
Yeah, that's something I didn't put my hands on just yet.
Yeah,
But
Posca. You do acrylic? I saw some of you.
I do mostly acrylic, but now having a little baby, I'm trying to find something that will be, more mobile, more kind of, and less messy,
portable.
more portable. Yeah, I tried some stuff online, not online, digital on my iPad, but that doesn't feel like I need something tangible.
Yes,
I need something in my hands.
I agree. Yeah. I know as a graphic designer and I have access to Photoshop and all of that. And I'm actually taking a class now that uses analog and digital for collages. I am more a tactile type. Yeah. I need to hold it. I don't care if I have to do X-Acto knife. Yeah.
So maybe, so now I'm thinking about investing into some markers and maybe just, sketching on random things here and there.
Yes. Yeah. Try the Posca markers. Yeah. I love them. Yeah. And Prismacolor is also good. Like, it depends on, the effect that you like.
That's my next step. Wow. That's been an amazing conversation.
Oh, thank you.
And I knew it. Like the moment I saw your Instagram, I was like, wow, there's so many things to like. Just in your Instagram, someone can scroll and scroll and scroll and feel like they're discovering something new because those are ordinary things in absolutely extraordinary way. Which is, by the way, you have another book.
Yes. So my next book is called, the second book is called Reclaimed Canvas. And what it is because in 2016, that's when I started doing more, I added sort of a diversity into my repurposed materials. So so this is a book. And so on the cover is the eggshells. But it does not even include some of my recent ones, but it does showcase quite a bit of repurposed materials, including the eggshells, some leaves, pistachios, and all that. So, yes, it's funny because it has become sort of a Bible of some of these recycle artists, where they get an inspiration for the day, and they'll just do like a whole bunch of them will just do eggshells for the day.
That book is going to end up on my coffee table for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because it's really affordable.
Yes.
For so much inspiration, I think you should charge more.
Oh, actually, funny you should say that, because one of the bookshops that I started showing here just locally said, I think this is very inexpensive. People could have bought this for a lot more. But I mean, who knew? I mean, even when I was talking to the publishing company for my first book, even they were a little skeptical. Like, I don't know if you can sell that for $26.95 or something. And I thought, well, and it's not cheap to get a book published, especially if it's a coffee table book, because it's very kind of image heavy, and so for the second one, I thought, well, I can up it a little bit, but I don't know how much, because you kind of have to find the balance. Like most people internationally still find $35 to be a lot of money. But in terms of what you get out of it, I feel like, I agree with you. I think it could be a little bit more, but anyway.
Well, and here in the US, we're lucky because it's $26.99 and it ships for free.
Exactly. And if you're on Amazon Prime, sometimes it comes down and free shipping and
amazing.
All that.
Amazing.
Yeah, we are lucky.
All right. Well, again, everything will be in the show notes. So you guys gotta go check out to have some visual aids. Check out Ruby's website and all the links for the upcoming Domestika workshops, exhibitions. If we have those links available by the time this episode comes out, everything will be down there.
Okay, that would be great. Yes, and send me the link for this, because I can also share it with
absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. So I like to ask. So I run out of questions.
Yeah.
So when I run out of questions,
I probably talk
like
too much anyway.
No, that's amazing. That's what this podcast exists for. So when I run out of questions, I like to ask a question like if you have something else that you wanted to tell but I did not ask you, or if you want, yeah.
You know, the thing with that question is I probably will remember it in the middle of the night tonight. Like not right now. You know, later I'll probably say, "Oh, I could have said this." But at the moment, I'm really just very happy with all the opportunities that, you know, have come my way. I feel very grateful. And every year I tell my husband I need to slow down, but it seems to just go the other way, you know, every year, like with invitations. But at the same time, I feel like I have to do it while I can still do it, you know, because there will be a time when maybe I cannot anymore. So you just have to make the most out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in that case, some words of inspiration for people who are listening to us, because the majority of our audience is artists, and a lot of them are at the beginning of their careers.
Yes, yes. Oh, you mean words of inspiration for me?
Yes,
well,
words of inspiration
you know, I do my art because I feel like people need to see beyond the boundaries of what they consider traditional art and start considering what's available to them, you know. I mean, during the pandemic, that was really handy because you could not go anywhere and you just had to make use of what was. So I was fortunate in that way, you know. I'm using paper cups as, you know, canvases because that's all that's available or whatever. But yeah, so that's, and I would just take it easy and not overthink anything and just enjoy it.
That's a great advice. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ruby, for being with me today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Yes.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely 100% my pleasure. I am inspired. While I have a babysitter for another hour, I gotta do something.
I love the palm trees in back of you. I am just like, I feel like I am in Hawaii somewhere.
Yeah, that's intentional, because if I turn this off, that's going to be
I see the baby.
No, it's a pile of trash. I'm sitting in my garage, and it's not pretty. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Galina.
Yes, and I will see you again in the art scene. It has been another episode of In the Art Scene podcast. If you liked today's conversation, please give us a good review on Apple and go listen to other great stories. Check out our website intheartscene.com or follow us on Instagram at intheartscene for more content. If you are a creative and you want to share your story, shoot us a message from the website or DM us on Instagram. Look forward to seeing you next time in the art scene.